All
What
right.
if I left the meeting?
What'd you say?
I just think it's funny that it gives you an option to leave the meeting when it is being recorded.
Wait, let me back this up. All right, so for today's meeting, we're gonna do intros, though I think everyone here today knows each other already. Maybe we'll skip that. And we'll have our discussion, and then we have some announcements at the end. Okay. Yeah, let's just skip introductions. That's so sad. All right, so this is like the overview of what we're going to be talking about in our meeting today. So we want to think about artistic intent, obviously, but we also want to use what we think the meaning of art is to help us answer that question. And then after we like figure out what we think, we're going to think about like what the consequences for our opinion might be. Let's see.
Thanks.
Wait, all right, so I want to know what everyone thinks before we've had a discussion. So what do you guys think about artistic intent? You can answer like any of the questions I put up on the slides. I guess Teddy, you should.
I feel like you can define art is my take on it, because it's so like, I don't know.
Yeah, continue, sorry. Wait, why don't you think you can define art?
Because it like takes so many forms, and there are so many like, it's like I don't know. It's like you can call anything art technically.
I was gonna say art is something that maybe doesn't necessarily have to have a purpose. It can, but some of its purpose is that it does not have purpose.
True, I agree.
It does have purpose in that case.
No,
Yeah, 'cause
like
some
functionality. Like you could just make a plain desk that is flat, but I'm just thinking of desks. I'm looking at my like weirdly ornate desk right now. You could just make a plain desk that is flat and it works as a desk. That is not art because it's just like a desk. But then if like somebody who does like woodworking like sculpts it or whatever, then maybe then it is art because some of it is not necessarily how it looks is not for its functionality.
So would you say it
Okay.
has some like other intent behind it, or is it like
Yeah.
yeah?
Okay, so the intent is like what makes it art, kind of.
Yep.
Okay, so I want to ask Angie, like, you don't think art can be defined, so do you think like life, for example, can be defined?
Life?
Like in a biological sense, can we define what life is? It's like,
It's like all the biotic and abiotic factors.
okay, so but like the point of philosophy a lot of the time is to just like define things, because I guess the train of thought is that you can try to define anything.
I have, because it's like, even if it's so like relative to everyone, like everyone's definition is different. Like whether it's like about life or about like art.
I think it's very subjective.
True.
Yeah, well, art is definitely very subjective.
So it's like you can't really like, even if it doesn't serve like so what Emma was saying is like, what you were saying is like, do you have to like separate its functionality from like it's like I don't. Is there like a specific intent that it needs to serve in order to be classified as art?
No, that it does not have, that its only intent is not for it, that its only intent is not for its use.
Yeah, I got okay. Yeah, so I agree with her. And I guess like because it doesn't need to have like a specific intent, it can't be defined.
But can
If
you
that makes
define
sense.
something based on like what you're like essentially defining it by
Yeah.
saying that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would think like one intent of art to like entertain people.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's like the only qualification for art. Like you can say anything that entertains people is art, or like art is something that entertains people. So I think that's like one of the qualifications.
Right. And
Yeah, I was just sorry.
so like to go back to like what Emma's saying though, like a lot of the things we just like the objects we have just to use also have some qualities that aren't for its function. Like sometimes we design things to look nice just because we want them to look nice. So do you think like Tia's phone, for example, is like
Andre's not going.
qualifies for it to be art? Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't
think-
really serve the purpose of being functional.
There can be artistic elements in something that is not
Being
art. Or that's just for like the aesthetic, which you could separate from art, sort of like a square rectangle type of thing.
Mhm.
Like you can have something that is aesthetically pleasing and just for that purpose without it being art. But art is also maybe not pleasing, but there's some aesthetic to it.
Would you say like, I don't know, if I had to define art, I would say it's something like one of the intents that could be behind art would be just like showing the extent of human capability. So whether like
Mhm.
you're very good at drawing or just like designing some machine that has never been thought of before and is like almost magical,
But then
that's art.
what about when people have just like blank canvases and they're like,
So like what
art?
those pieces meaning is like is the intent, right? Because a lot of the time if you just look at some pieces of modern art, like you're not really gonna understand or appreciate it without knowing what the intent behind it was. And maybe that intent is just for it to be aesthetically pleasing. And I feel like just aesthetics can be considered art, and but like I guess what you're saying is that aesthetics just doesn't necessarily make something art, which I guess is true. But usually people that are looking to create something aesthetically pleasing intend for it to be art. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't really think of an example of something that was created just to be beautiful that is not art. I don't know if anyone else can think of any.
That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
What
Like-
about, like nature, because nature's beautiful, but like,
We didn't create that though.
oh,
Sorry.
But if you believe in a creator, then you can claim
Yeah.
that the creator is
Yeah, it's
an
an
artist.
art,
Yeah.
just not of that.
But if
human,
you believe in a creator, wouldn't like the entire like solar system just be art?
You could say
Yeah.
that.
You
Some-
could, but also I think what kind of matters in that situation is the intent, right? That's why we're kind of confused here, because like sometimes it seems like intent is super important, but sometimes it feels like intent doesn't matter to us at all when we consume art.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like the art that I've made,
Mm-hmm.
specifically the sculptures I've made
Yeah.
when I took the sculpture class.
Yeah. I
And
remember.
some of them obviously had intent. Like we would be given an intent that we had to do. So obviously it was like to evoke fear or something. But then some of them it was just like carve into this plaster block.
Yeah.
But I still had intent when making it how I wanted it to look. So if that's what you mean by intent, but like
Yeah.
I don't
I think that counts. Though, I guess, do you think it counts for you to just like?
I think well, one thing my professor would always say was like, well, like say, okay, plaster like breaks fucking constantly.
You're being recorded.
And what?
Let's keep swearing at a minimum.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's really fine. But
It breaks a lot.
yeah.
So if it would break, he would be like, oh, we'll just like make it look like you did that intentionally.
Oh.
Exactly. You can literally like you can like fake like intent, I guess. You could like that's what I did. That's what I did for my AP art exam. It's like I had all my pieces and I didn't know like I didn't really know why I did it. And so I like had to like create this like deep meaning behind them. And
Right.
like it worked because I got a 5 and they were like, wow, very philosophical, very deep.
Yeah, they could.
But it wasn't. Like it really wasn't.
Good job plugging in your 5 one more time.
Yeah, I hate to flex.
You can claim that what you made isn't really art then, if you, do you know what I mean?
Wait, what was that?
Like maybe what you, like your creation doesn't qualify as art then if you had no intent behind it. But I'm thinking like you still did have intent. Like obviously you were at the very least trying to make it look nice. And I think that qualifies.
It's also like
I guess. Because like I did have like a specific concentration or like a theme that I tried to follow because we had to pick one, you know?
Mhm.
But it's like
Yeah,
it's
this is like
still I feel like I don't know.
plus like I think art, the intent could be either purely like aesthetic reason or some other message that is like beside the aesthetics. Kind of like I think of it as a distinction between like calligraphy and just writing a letter to someone, where writing a letter is just it achieves its function. You're not really trying to give it any more meaning or any more aesthetic beauty. But then if you do calligraphy or something, you're mostly focusing on like the beautiful aspects of it. Same with cooking. Like if you're just making a sandwich to fulfill your hunger or something, it's different from like making a whole fancy dish or something and spending so much time on garnish and things like that. Like that's art because it has that aesthetic beauty. But in terms of books and music, that aesthetic beauty could take form of a message or something you're trying to say with the art.
Also though, like art can be ugly. Like some people just
Yeah.
glue trash together.
That's a good point.
One project that we did in the sculpture class was, which didn't really fit, but was a Rube Goldberg machine.
Mhm.
Do you know what those are? Like dominoes and stuff, and it like triggers other things to go. And that shit was ugly as fuck. I swore again. I'm so sorry.
You're good.
No, it's really okay. I'm just trying to keep it kind of.
Yeah,
But,
that's
like,
not my style. It was ugly.
yeah.
Also, it almost set the room on fire. So sometimes people blow up buildings for art and they're like, it's art. As long as you videotape it.
Ugliness is intentional. Like it's driving some kind of message. Like this is intentionally ugly. I have the ability to make something beautiful, but I made something ugly because I just proving my independence as an artist or something.
Well, what if the ugliness was an accident?
I also think that is fine too, because like even if you aren't the most skillful artist, you can still create something with some kind of intent and that qualifies it to be art. Do you know what I mean? So like what Emma's saying is kind of like what I said up here. So like art might be made with an aesthetic intent but has greater meaning to the consumer, or like vice versa. So I want you guys to tell me what you guys think about that. Like if art is made with just a purely aesthetic intent, does that mean that it doesn't have any deeper meaning, or can you assign it more meaning just as a consumer?
I think you could definitely assign it deeper meaning because like art is different to every single person, and even if the artist simply did it for aesthetic purposes, like if it means something to the consumer, then it's considered art, I think.
So do you think like the consumer's opinion of the art is more important than what the artist intended?
Yes.
Okay. So all the modern art that isn't appreciated by the public is not as valuable.
Well, no. Well, we're not like value based, but
Or meaningful. I guess I'm
yeah.
interchangeably. Like if some artist creates a piece, but that piece of art is like never appreciated by anyone ever, then
I don't think that puts the value down.
okay, but you told me that the consumer assigns the art meaning though.
I think an artist can be their own consumer. So like if
Okay.
they paint something,
I was just about to say that, yeah.
then like it is valuable to them, and therefore has value.
Okay. I think that's fair, but I guess I'm asking like who do you think is more important in the exchange? Like does the consumer's opinion matter more than what the artist intended? Yes or no?
I mean, in like society, yes, because like if you want to make money or actually get appreciation from the art, then yes, because they're the ones that are going to make that possible. If people don't like it, then people don't like it.
Right.
But also doesn't mean that like art can exist without being consumed. I'm pretty sure most people that make art like make it for themselves to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know like I have things on my wall that I've made. I didn't make that for like other people to be like, wow, Emma, you're so cool, because it's not like I signed it.
Yeah.
Like they don't know I made it. That's just me. For me, I wanted to make it.
Mm-hmm. So like in that case, it seems like the artist's intent is really, really important, because clearly like what the artist wants to do is what's giving the piece meaning. It's not like based on what the consumer has to say about it.
But in that case, she's also the consumer.
Right.
The consumer can have their own meaning. Like everybody is the consumer, like, but
yeah, I guess like when I say like the artist's intent, I mean like the artist as a consumer as well. Like is their meaning more important than other consumers' meanings?
no.
I feel like neither. Because like I think art is subjective, so like it shouldn't necessarily like both of them are entitled to their own opinion about the art, kind of, or like they view it in a certain manner. Neither is right or wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like the artist's intent is obviously like important because it's like personal to them. Like it's the reason why they're creating the art, but it's also up for interpretation for the other consumers because they're the ones that are like ingesting the art. Not ingesting, but like absorbing the art.
You could ingest it if it was food.
Maybe.
I'm saying.
But so yeah, like I don't know. It's like maybe art is just something that is supposed to like evoke emotions,
Mhm.
emotion.
Yeah, I think that's the first definition that comes to mind for me.
Yeah. And it's like in any way. Cause like you're bound to feel something whenever you like look at a drawing or like when you listen to a song or whatever, even if it's bad, you're still feeling it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But like, what if the art doesn't evoke the emotion that the artist like was trying to evoke? Like, does that make it like a less successful piece, or like?
I think it would make it less successful, like technically, but it also shouldn't necessarily matter because people are different. And so the way that they will interpret something is going to be different from like another, you know, from like another person.
What if something
I
like
think
So
that
accidentally produces emotion? Is that still art?
It's
Yeah.
also like I think I've drawn stuff that looks really good, and then like my art teacher will be like, "Yeah, like you need to fix that." So it's
yo, call Miss Burford out. Bring her over here.
like, it makes me feel bad, but also it's just the way that she interpreted it. But I guess it makes me feel bad.
If you're just like drawing a stick figure and you had no intention behind it, but like I went and looked at that stick figure and I'm like, oh my god, this like changed my life.
Yeah, she
This
starts
reminds me of
tearing
my,
up, and she's
dead
like,
grandfather, and I'm
"Oh my
like,
god, you must
Yeah.
have known."
Yeah. So like, that is it then art? Is your stick figure now art because of that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think-
Also. Oh wait. Go ahead.
Um,
So based on what everybody's been saying to me, I feel like in that case, you guys would consider the stick figure art then.
But it's also like it depends on who draws the stick figure, because if like I don't know, Justin Bieber drew it, people would care more than if I drew it. So would it have I think
but
more meaning if someone of
Right,
higher
but
status?
the piece would only have meaning because of who the artist is, and I'm not sure that that's really what.
yeah, I was gonna say art can exist without being.
No, I meant like people would care about it more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
more of an
consumer is gonna
that,
think of it as more valid. I think is what Brianna is trying to say. I don't want to like mansplain, but like
Okay.
what you're saying is like it would be more valid.
Like
Go
people,
ahead. You say it better.
like people would care about it more. It would have more of an audience.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So like if the artist is more established as an artist, their intention behind it kind of matters more.
It's not that it matters more, is that it's gonna reach more people.
Yeah,
So
so
it'll-
it seems like it matters more because people care about it more, but I don't think it necessarily does make it matter more. Like just because
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's better just because Justin Bieber draws it. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
people will care about it more because they know Justin Bieber drew it.
yeah.
That makes sense.
If you
Yeah,
define-
it's like how a celebrity hair would sell for like $10,000 versus like an ordinary person's hair.
Yeah.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah, that's not art.
Could be.
That's just like
Supply and
our yeah,
Someone's art.
and the way we treat like famous people.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Teddy?
Actually, I don't think it makes any sense.
Okay.
So like I think personally that no matter how much Tia cares about the stick figure that I drew, like I still don't think it makes it art just because she found some meaning in it.
Okay. So
Well, it's
does
art for
it
her.
have, what if I am insisting like
Mhm.
no, this has meaning. We should share this with the world because like it's going to evoke this emotion for so many other people. This is art. You should like publish it. Who is
Sure.
in the right here? Who can like tell the other one what to do or like what to think? Who has more authority, I guess? can Lucia as an artist tell me this is exactly what this is supposed to mean, or this is, you know, like,
Well, with something as simple as like a stick figure, anyone can draw a stick figure.
well,
But okay, so we're just using a stick figure as an example because like we're trying to emphasize the fact that the artist the artist doesn't care about the thing it created.
It's like if someone drew like a mug and then everyone would be like, oh well, that's just like an ordinary mug, but then they were like, wait, no, but this was like Picasso's mug that he was drinking when he died. So it was like that would after hearing the explanation, I feel like people would be more likely to buy the painting versus if they just saw it with no explanation, it was just a painting of a mug.
okay.
Right. So I think what I'm trying to get at here is like every piece of art is made so much more rich by knowing what the artist intended to do with that piece of art. So like even if Tia appreciates my stick figure and I'm like, okay, I'm really glad you appreciate it, that doesn't mean that I now consider it art or that anyone should consider it art. I just feel like you're allowed to appreciate it, but I wouldn't want to like bring it out to the rest of the world and present it as art when I didn't intend for it to be.
Oh, true.
Well, the intent thing, like, we're talking about, like, in my mind, more like art that has a meaning, you know, like, we all know different, like, it has, like, oh, this is supposed to represent this, whatever. But, like, I feel like there's art that doesn't necessarily have meaning, so it doesn't matter, but it can't be like representative of something, you know?
Can you elaborate?
This thing that's not telling you anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh, the strings. Obviously, I meant it to look like that.
Yeah.
But you can't be like, oh, well, knowing the intent of that makes it better. Because it doesn't have that type of intent.
But like me as the observer of your art, knowing that you created it to look like that, or like whatever your intent behind it is, makes it better to me as a consumer. Or I think.
But did you create the stick figure to look like that stick like was it just a random stick figure, or was it like this stick figure is X, you know? Like then you could say everything is that.
So like we're trying to do like the opposite. In like the cases, we're just flipping it so that we are having the artist not care about what it produced, like what he or she produced. Like I just did it by accident and Tia happened to interpret it as art. For example, like if there is a creator and they just like accidentally made the universe, us thinking of nature as art would be like a misinterpretation. And we're just giving it value. Do you know what I mean?
But we do that with everything.
Yeah. I was gonna say that you don't have to, the artist doesn't have to have a specific intent, or like the artist doesn't have to like produce something and label it as like this is specifically art, you know, and people will still like.
I think that it can like not be art to the artist, but still be art to somebody viewing it.
And that still makes it like valid. So like I would say that equally, like the artist's intent and the consumer's interpretation is equally relevant to like considering the validity of like of art or whatever.
Okay.
It's like an either or both.
So you
I
don't
feel like if the
Huh?
sorry, you can go.
Jane?
Okay, I feel like even if the artist didn't want the art to be art, if Tia finds like a meaning in the stick figure, it's a misinterpretation, but that doesn't make the value go down. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So I still think the stick figure is valuable though, because it brings value to, or like Tia interprets it and enjoys it pretty much. But like, just because it's valuable doesn't mean it is art, if that makes sense. Like, just because I'm saying that I don't consider it art doesn't mean that it's not valuable, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't provoke emotion in certain people.
But I feel like if it provokes emotion in the consumer,
Mhm.
it can be art,
Okay.
even if the artist didn't want that from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
is evoking emotion like that good of a qualifier for art?
I don't
Because I'm
think it
thinking,
is.
like,
Yeah.
someone could show you, like, you could just walk into the street and just see someone like dying in the middle of the
Yeah,
street.
yeah.
That would evoke emotion. But
Yeah,
is that
definitely.
art? Like, definitely not.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people, like I said before, like that's the evoking emotion thing is like the first thing I think of, because I feel like I've been told that before, but I don't, it's definitely not a good definition of what art is.
It could be perceived as art.
Does it have
A
to
person
be
does.
really created?
If it was intentional,
Yeah.
for sure.
Perhaps, yeah.
Staged a play and some man was dying and it evoked emotion in me, then I would consider that art because
Yeah.
it's staged, it's intentional.
Yeah. So like in that case, intention seems super important, but then everyone was like,
Oh, it's the stick
oh,
figure.
it's the stick figure is still art though, even though there was no intention. So I guess that's why we posed that question to you guys. Because in certain cases, it seems more like the intention is important, whereas in others, it seems like it's not. But
What about in the case where like the intention
Mhm.
is not, like the emotion it produces is not like the intention
Yeah.
that is provided?
oh,
like,
good scenario.
Take The Room, for example.
Uh-huh.
And that could be like some super deep movie, like a sad love story.
Yeah.
And end up just being like a hilarious comedy. Is that still art?
Well, in the intention definition, it would be art because they created that awful
Yes.
movie with the intent of provoking certain emotions and like doing something with it, right?
It would be art, but with whose message or whose takeaway from it would be the correct one? Is it a tragedy or a comedy? Who's,
I think the artist is correct because I really don't see how, as a consumer, I have any say in
Really?
what.
So you think The Room is a tragedy?
Yes.
Let's turn this into like a debate about The Room. I'm down for that.
No, let's not do that.
Please.
Like,
Please.
or Room. Two different.
Anything for my princess.
Andy, stop!
okay, I'm done.
Oh. But like, or let's just take music for example. Let's just say Mozart, whenever he was writing Requiem, he was dying, and this was supposed to be a very sad
Mhm.
like thing. What if someone just like listened to it and thought, "Wow, this makes me feel like happy and excited to like dance." Yeah.
Honestly, it's pretty offensive.
Yeah.
Don't you think? So like in that case, we're demonstrating the complete opposite of what you guys intuition was for what Teddy said about The Room. So like, what is your actual opinion? Like, it seems offensive for us to be like, haha, Mozart, that was so funny.
When you put it like that, I kind of agree with you that the artist's intent is more important than what the consumer thinks.
But literally, it's the same case.
But
I don't think it's the same case because of it, like, like some things are so, like some things are created for it to be like completely like emotional, but then you take in The Room idea and it's about like,
It was created to
Ugh.
be emotional.
Yeah, we can equate
just
both
don't feel
artists.
his
We're not gonna
emotions.
say that one artist is better than another. Although I think everyone
My spot is better than Mozart.
exactly.
It's just kind of like what decides if the consumer is correct one time or the author, like the artist is correct the next time. Like
I think if the artist like I don't even know how to describe it.
I feel like if the artist can give, not the artist, the consumer can give proof why they're right, like in like clear cut, then maybe they'd be right. But then again, like who are they to determine whether it's?
That's I guess what I'm saying, because it seems like to me that a lot of people just pick and choose whether or not they want to care about what the artist intended or not.
I think if the artist portrays the emotion correctly, like in their piece.
Okay,
If
but
they
who's to say who is correct? If like you create something, so like for example, if we have someone that's like super mentally ill and they create some art that's like expressing their like depression, for example, and you see the piece and you think it's a super happy piece, how can you say to them that they didn't express their emotion correctly?
I mean, I was gonna say like you can't, but like why can't we have our own interpretations of things? Because sometimes like I don't know how to explain this, but like things don't exist to you until you see them, sort of type of thing. Like they exist in a way, but does it really exist to you? So does the meaning matter? Does the meaning matter if it's that, like, does the meaning that you think it is matter to somebody else? Because they don't know it. It's not real to them. It's like the color thing. Like we don't know what colors other people see. You know, like we could all be seeing different colors, but we'll never know. So it doesn't matter about the colors.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But
All
it's
right.
also like
That makes no sense.
No, you were fine. What were you saying, Brianna?
oh sorry. It's like I feel like if I were to make something and I want people to feel sad when they see it, but they're happy instead, like I would feel bad if they were like, no, I only think it's happy. Like I'm not gonna understand your viewpoint at all. But I also feel like how can we control how people interpret it? So it's kind of like,
yeah,
it's like I'm not gonna like, I'll get mad if they like force their interpretation onto me. So I guess it's like there has to be some kind of understanding or something between the artist and the consumer.
right. So like you as a creator, because you created the art, it feels like maybe you should have more of a say about what happens to your creation.
Like, what do you mean what happens to it?
Like even like maybe we should all as consumers be more diligent and like care more about what the artist's intent was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Because obviously everyone does have their own interpretations to things. It's just when we try to define what is art and what is not, I feel like we should use the artist's intention to define the art rather than the consumer's interpretation.
Also, I was just thinking about like music is obviously art. Well, that's maybe not obvious, but it is art to me.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the name of the song, but it's actually about like a school shooting. And like that would be inappropriate to play at certain times. Like you need to understand the meaning of that song, even if you think it's about like a game or a race or something.
Yeah, or maybe if you just think it's a happy song and you just play it because you want to feel happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like there's more to it, so yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, I have to pee, but I'll be back.
So like, let's suppose it's not just the meaning that's like contentious. So we're saying that the artist, or like at least a bit of the artist, is included in the work they produce, right? Like their intent matters at least somewhat. But what about them as a person? If the artist is, let's just say, like a criminal or just a really horrible person, can we then, is it okay for us to separate their art from them?
I feel like a lot of the times, like let's say that the artist is like racist and like misogynistic, that can come through like in their art. So I don't know if it's like okay to like ignore that, you know? Like, you know, like R. Kelly, like,
Yeah.
is it okay to give R. Kelly money by listening to his music when he's literally like a very bad person?
Anyone else?
Like, can we separate it if he's alive? If he's like actively like getting a platform and getting money?
Okay, so you think there is a difference between whether the artist is alive or whether they're dead and they have done this bad thing, right?
It's like Picasso. Like I've heard Picasso was like a horrible person. He was like really misogynistic, and like a lot of his like he would like the subjects he would draw were like underage and stuff. So it's like we have to know. I don't know. It's like if he was alive, like he would be getting a platform and like he would be able to continue doing that. But now that he's dead, I feel like people should look at his art and like know what his views were and like how he was as a person, because that influences like what he was drawing. If that makes sense.
So like if we are saying that it's unethical to consume art made by like bad people, then I guess we need to ask like, why is it unethical? Is it because we're giving them money, or is it because we are thinking positive things about them that we shouldn't think? Or like, what is the ethical dilemma here?
It's like if you listen to R. Kelly, you're giving him money.
Right.
You know?
Is it just bad because you're giving him money, or is it because you're like contributing to like a group of people that like respects him or like thinks more highly of him because he is like a good artist?
So it's like, I think it's like both, because if you give him respect for the music he like makes, you're also kind of glorifying like bad behavior, like really bad behavior.
Yeah.
I think we all know what R. Kelly like is doing. And like I don't know if you can like separate his art from him.
Right. So I think the same thing applies to dead people. Even if they're not financially gaining from it, we can still say it's unethical to support dead bad people because we think about their reputation and like what they mean to us in like a pop culture standpoint.
Yeah, like if we're like looking at art made by like a racist person or a misogynistic person, like we can't just look at it without knowing the biases that are within the art itself, just because they're dead. Like just because they're dead doesn't mean that their biases and like all the stuff they thought isn't within the art they created. So it's bad to like ignore that.
Right.
What if it's like completely detached from the art?
I was just gonna ask.
So like I'm not like defending myself or whatever, but like X, for example, XXXTentacion, he like, you know, was really abusive and stuff. He's dead, but his art, like his songs or his music don't have anything pertaining to like him abusing his girlfriend or like him there are some songs of him like that could be taken like that could be perceived as like misogynistic. But like for most of his art, he doesn't talk about that. So does that play a part? Does that like can you listen to the music that doesn't have those elements?
That's the question.
But he
I
is
don't know.
black, so you
I
are
think-
financially
He
supporting.
said,
Or I mean, sorry, like somebody like adjacent to him is still making money off of him because he's like recently dead, you know?
yeah.
So like the people
Yeah.
that supported him while he was alive are still benefiting from you listening to that music. So like, should we support like the adjacent people to him or like?
I was talking to my roommate about this. Just pirate their music, dude.
Okay, but like,
But that's only if it's like about money.
okay, is it
Okay,
ethical?
but yeah. So like we can also say that consuming their art at all, even if it's illegal, is still bad because you are like inevitably when you like a song, you're not going to be able to fully like understand how bad that person is. Like all the people that love I Believe I Can Fly or whatever have a really hard time believing that R. Kelly is that guy that created that song because it's so like important to them because a lot of people continually consume it. So by consuming art, even if it's pirated, you're still like contributing to that.
Yeah, because it's like if everyone collectively continues to listen to their music, like even if they're dead,
Mhm.
it's kind of like ignoring the problem and kind of like it's kind of like a lot of times when people are dead, you kind of immortalize them and ignore all the bad things you've done. So by listening to the music, you kind of just I'm saying like everybody, but like
Yeah.
everyone just kind of forgets, I guess.
Yeah. So we're kind of like accepting it as a society and then like possibly allowing more artists to continually behave that way.
Yeah.
Is there like a specific set of like bad behavior that's like excusable? Like, okay, they did some stupid stuff, but it's not that bad. So I feel like
I was gonna bring that up with like cancel culture because people get canceled for like very
Exactly.
small things now,
yeah.
and then there's like no chance for like bringing it back. I mean, I don't like cancel culture, but I don't know what is moral. There's like a really strong cancel culture at my school. Like Clark, it's a lot of very like that type of people who like to cancel people. So I think about it a lot, and like I don't want to get canceled for like hanging out with my friends during a pandemic, which I think we're all doing to an extent. But some people think that they are righteous for like doing certain things, and it's like, where is the line? Because I'm not going to parties, I'm not spitting in people's mouths.
Right. So so cancel culture was like born from the idea that we shouldn't support bad people, right? So I guess it's hard to draw a line like Angie was asking about. But like
Yeah, because I was gonna mention Lana Del Rey and her recent just
I
like
was
yeah,
of
the mask.
this week.
So dumb. Oh my god.
Right?
Oh
Her
my god,
mask-
the laced mask.
Oh my
the lacy mask at her meet and greet, and then literally like 2 days later, so she gets canceled or whatever, and people are like making fun of her. She doesn't actually get canceled because I don't think anyone like cares that much, or at least I wouldn't cancel her for that because I love her.
Right.
But
You
literally, like,
cancel her for that, but maybe if someone you didn't like as much did that, you would think maybe they kind of deserve to be canceled. So
but
like,
also, is it that like, I mean, it is really important. Like, it is a serious issue.
But it's
So I
like
don't-
if
Yeah.
you're immunocompromised and you will die if you get it,
yeah.
I think you'll be more mad at her too.
Exactly.
example, the president of your university does something like that. Are you gonna be like, oh, that's fine?
No.
The president of the United States did something like that.
2020. Yay!
I resigned today as
We're
the
not doing
president of the bank.
They now know my crimes.
It's also it's like Trisha Paytas, like the
Oh my
internet's biggest clown. She's been
No,
canceled like
no.
50 times, but she's still like people still love her.
It's because she's aware.
I saw her TikTok today and she was like, it was
When
creepy. She was like blinking very slowly and saying like, when will Trisha Paytas be canceled?
Right? I was about to mention that right now. She's so aware and she keeps making videos about her getting canceled.
But
And
But
like
does her
awareness-
being aware really excuse her actions?
it doesn't
I think it makes it worse if she's aware.
Yeah, it makes it worse.
That's
Yeah, because it's
But
not
for
an
some reason
accident.
she's
She
so
knows what she's doing.
Like you
Okay,
have
now
some
everyone wants to
artists,
talk.
you have some artists that are like intentionally misogynistic or racist or something. It's like part of
Yeah, for like dark humor.
their aesthetic or something.
Like Filthy Frank or whatever.
yeah, is that
True.
reasonable?
No,
It's not.
absolutely
And
not.
that's why Filthy Frank would always get canceled and like I don't know.
So
But
then,
he never really did get canceled. People still loved him.
okay, but like
Remember
you
Shane
consume
Dawson?
at all in that sense, do you think?
Wait, what? What did you say, Tia?
Someone is like that, if they're intentionally like racist or misogynistic for
Mhm.
the giggles, is that like are you allowed to consume their art? Is it ethical to consume it at all, even if you're not giving them money?
No, because I feel like it implicitly like creates bias within you if you think it's funny.
Definitely. So like the way we treat, like I think another big problem about like the cancel culture or whatever is that we just decide based on like whatever. Like we won't cancel certain people because of the respect that they already have, whereas people that are not so respected will get canceled much faster, or we assume that like they're worse than the people that do the same actions but have higher status. So like we're like, haha, Trisha Paytas, let's support her, even though like we have no reason to do so.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, this is distantly related. You know, like people try to buy from companies that are good for the environment, but it's extremely, extremely hard to do that. And whenever I like get down on myself about that, I'm like, well, there's not really any ethical consumption in our society. At some point, it's going to track back to hurting or harming the environment or somebody.
Mhm.
For the most part, unless you like maybe grow it yourself, but then even then, like, oh, you're using the water that other people could use, like there's always something wrong with
But it's
something.
also, like a sliding scale. I think
Yeah, definitely. Just I think people need to understand that there is no
ethical consumption under capitalism.
yeah, which is what I was gonna say, but I didn't want to exactly say.
like even if we do believe that though, like ethics is not completely black and white, right? So we can't claim that, oh, we should just not
Oh yeah,
do anything. I know that's not what you're saying. I'm just like saying this.
no, yeah, like obviously there's like worse. There's there's better options within two bad options, as we know from the 2020 election.
Or any election.
That's true.
I don't know.
It's depressing.
I also forgot to mention this earlier, but I was gonna ask if you guys think that robots can create art.
Oh yeah.
We talked about this before. Do you remember?
Like a AI robot or like a robot created by someone?
Well, the
Who?
Well, who cares?
Okay. Like wait, what do you mean?
Hey. Oh wait.
Can an AI create art?
yeah, not someone specific program directly.
Wait, okay, AI, because like if I created a robot that creates art, because we looked at one of those like when we were doing the Rube Goldberg thing. That is art for sure.
So the
But if it's AI and it's doing it by itself, I don't know.
so like
But it's like, I guess it depends on whether we would classify AI as people.
Well, that's a whole.
Yeah.
Do you think art is only created by people? Like can art only be created by like people?
I've seen like videos of elephants painting.
But is there like meaning? Let me get back to the meaning thing, because did the elephant have intent?
Well, you never know.
painting other than ooh, the human likes it when I do that.
Wait, is that not the intent
Not
behind
bad,
that painting?
not
I don't think that
Art.
qualifies as intent.
Yeah, it goes back to like actually like it like what
Okay, but that's besides the point. We're not talking about elephants here. We're talking about robots.
Yeah, like
Like
so is it like naturally created people like things, I guess? Is it like
wait, what? Can you just say that again?
because like elephants can create art. Animals can create art, correct?
maybe.
No.
I'm saying no, they can't.
Oh really?
Maybe like some apes can, but
Maybe.
like
Okay, I don't know the extent to it. Teddy.
yeah, I don't know because I don't know all the animals.
Like, I know, I've
so,
seen
like,
the video.
Okay, so let's just say someone create like AI, this AI, not animals, because animals are too much of a gray area, but AI just
Yep.
decided to create some art.
Or do they even make decisions
yeah.
though? They don't.
They don't make decisions even, but like it just produced something.
Oh wait, I thought of a good.
What?
Then no.
So like we have been saying that like the intent is what matters, but like from our last discussion, we know that we have no free will.
Oh.
So what the fuck does it even mean?
Yo.
Oh, what I read about Snake Cool.
Okay.
Would that be like? Do we have to have hormonal like determinism of some? Is that what makes art valid? That our hormones make us do it?
Art is not real, actually. I've just determined. Nothing is art. You think you're
At
making
all.
art, but that's an illusion also.
So sad.
No, I watched this TikTok the other day. Lucia, I posted it on my Finsta. Chemistry is fake. Don't believe it.
I'm sorry.
What was it? What is fake?
Chemistry isn't real.
Chemistry.
Chemistry?
It's made up.
No, chemistry is the only real thing.
No, we made it up. It's real, but we still made it up.
Because like the elements
made
used to be
everything
like
up.
what? Water, earth, fire, and air.
This
Like
is
that
an
makes everything
avatar.
it makes everything so much easier.
Yeah.
I actually do want to know what you guys think about the AI thing. Nobody has answered.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
I
have.
don't think AI can create art. Oh wait, go ahead. Anyone else?
I don't have an answer.
If
I
it's
feel like
AI,
they can.
did you see
I
that
feel-
AI doesn't make decisions?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, I don't think
So like it is deciding in the sense that it's like being like, oh, A or B, you know what I mean? But that's
Exactly.
necessarily
Do you mean like
I think
Well, I
Sorry.
feel like if they know the elements of art, which is like balance, shape, line, whatever.
but that-
So
I
who
don't-
are we to say that that's not actual art? It might not be meaningful like a human's art, but like, is it still considered art?
That's the question.
Art doesn't have to be meaningful for humans.
okay,
but
Yeah,
not
maybe
AI
we don't
that's creating
understand.
art, it's AI that is painting or AI that is drawing. Just every painting and every drawing is not necessarily art.
wait, what does that mean?
Like
is
just
that-
because
how developed is the AI? Like, did a person create like a brain with consciousness? And
Like,
it's like,
there will-
A person would have had to create
That's like
something
what this
that has
is.
the ability to learn things. The person did not know
oh,
what that AI learned or what it would like do with that information that it accumulates, but that AI ends up producing some picture or painting or sketch.
yeah.
Is it then art?
So it doesn't have consciousness?
It does not have
No,
consciousness. Is
no.
it? And we're not talking about the person who created the AI. We're talking about the AI itself. Is this art produced by the AI? Does it count as art?
Like,
I feel bad saying it doesn't.
well, why do you feel bad for a computer?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I think this is a lot about how we perceive intent. So like, for example, I've told my sister about this before, but like when we see like a Roomba, for example, bumping into the wall repeatedly, we're like, oh, that's kind of sad. You know what I mean? But like, it's not sad at all if you think about it. It literally means nothing. So we're kind of just projecting onto them like our intentions and stuff. So like, I think it would be wrong to say like that we should feel bad for it when we say that what they're producing isn't art, because it's just not. What do you think it's art?
Kind of, yeah.
How so?
Explain.
Because it can still like invoke emotion in people and like entertain people.
Right. So you're going back to.
But is it intentionally created? Can you
Does
say?
art have to be intentionally?
Like,
I
the
think
man dying in
that's
the
what
street,
we
yeah.
have, or I have defined it as at
Yeah.
least. So like you can define it as what the consumer's interpretation is. When in that case, something an AI creates could happen to provoke emotion in someone. So you would also say that the stick figure that I drew is art.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the room is a comedy.
Okay. So he completely disagrees with everything I've said so far.
I think if you're in danger.
I'm in danger.
You go, he completely disagrees with everything. Fine.
Respect his opinion. What?
Wow, so professional.
Wow, you're following the rules. Discussion.
Wait, but this is virtual.
Oh.
We can't debate virtually, Tia.
Stop. We're not talking about this. Enough of politics.
I'm sorry.
So sick of it.
Sorry, no more Donald Trump references.
Maybe I shouldn't be a poli-sci major.
Wait, time.
Okay,
we have time.
we're still good on time.
So, like, what does everyone think? I feel like I still haven't heard any opinions besides.
Well-
In my opinion.
Yeah, good job, good job.
Oh, thanks.
From like my perspective, and I think a lot of people's perspective regarding, I'm just gonna mention like painting, for example.
Mhm.
It's all about the brush stroke. It's all about the stroke.
Enough.
Like when you really think about it,
No.
it's like because it's like
What if the art
I just realized that I just said. Okay, I'm so sorry.
Guess what I'm saying is art isn't about the shade or the light or the rule of thirds or the brushstrokes. It's about the intent behind those brushstrokes, right? So
We have to learn that then.
What?
what?
How come like in art classes they're like, oh, the rule of thirds, like
Right?
why?
There are so many rules behind it so that you can make it more appealing.
Yeah, but like, listen, this is just what's appealing to us as consumers, like Western consumers.
Right.
Let's
This
talk
is
about like
fake,
cave
fake.
Like if we make paintings, we would still qualify them as art because some caveman intentionally set out to make this either as like preservation of history or
Or just
preservation
like,
of what they were going
yeah.
through, or just like for fun.
or like a beautiful form of
Yeah.
communication.
So we would consider that art, even though the caveman had no idea what the rule of thirds was or
Yeah.
what shade is.
So we teach skills just so that we can give people the tools to express whatever meaning they want to express. So like in art class, when you're practicing those skills, what you make there is not necessarily art. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, you think if
Yeah,
it's a stick figure, it's art, but if you make a stick figure, it's not art?
That's just
Well,
her
it
opinion,
depends.
yeah.
It depends on what the caveman's intention was. Like, I don't know what he wanted. If
the stick figure is using the rule of thirds, is it art, Lucia?
Wait, but this
I'm joking.
Depends on my-
the caveman like did
I
that.
know, I know.
Like you have no way of knowing what his intentions are.
Right,
Is
so,
that
like-
art now, or like how do you find out if that's art?
Why do you need to find out?
What makes it like? Why is it art if he intended to? Like,
Because he intended to.
but
Like,
you don't know what he intended to do.
yeah,
No one
but why
knows.
do I need to be able to determine whether everything in the world is art or not?
True.
So you would
So basically, this whole debate is pointless.
or not art? What would you say it is?
I don't know. It's just
It's just a thing.
it's pending.
But you'll never find out.
Listen, I said my opinion.
Wait, everyone agree that the caveman painting is art or no?
Like we do not know
If it-
for sure, but we are assuming with like pretty good certainty that like I'm not gonna say yes 100% it's art, but like if we under the assumption that there was some intention behind the caveman's painting, then like yes, it would be art, right?
What if it was like a form of like language or something?
Right. So if it's just them writing their name out, then it would not be art. Because we don't see like our writing as art, right?
Yeah.
Like hieroglyphics, for example, that's just writing. Even like it's just writing.
It just has
But
one,
wouldn't you say that like a book is art?
but like
A book is a form of art because like it's not like the words on the page I'm talking about. Like a
Yeah.
book is art because of the meaning that you read when you read the actual book.
yeah.
Like for example,
Yeah,
when you translate a book, you're not like deleting all its meaning because like the meaning is within the words.
Yeah.
So would like a biology book be art?
No.
It's like I feel like if it serves an explicit like just defined purpose of just like educating someone or
Yeah, like what
Like,
Emma was saying. in the
yeah,
beginning.
then it just has it's you can't really consider it art, but if it's trying to evoke an emotion in someone or just like tell a story that would evoke emotion.
Yeah,
then
so
it would
like
be
a
art.
book about biology framed in the terms of wow, think
Look at
about
this,
how
yeah.
amazing the world we live in is. That could be maybe
It's
considered
like
art.
it's like the documentary Our Planet or whatever.
Yeah,
like
yeah, that
I
is
would consider
definitely
that
art.
art because it's not just showing you okay these are the animals and this is what they do, but it's like
Yeah.
trying to give you a message like oh we need to take care of our planet. because
Yeah,
of this this
and just
this.
because I read the biology textbook and I'm like, wow, meaning does not make the biology textbook art, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
So, like a drawing that is strictly informative,
hmm
is that not art?
Like a diagram of like the human body or something, I would not consider that art.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, like drawings in anatomy textbooks, I wouldn't consider art.
What about if it was like, if it was something more like if it was something more abstract, like
Then you're not just
like someone. Wait, what?
you're not just informing, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
then it just goes into like design rather than art.
But wait, did someone say that if you like use
Well, I guess Tia was saying the line is where you're just being.
Wait, what were you
informative.
saying, Brianna?
oh sorry. If like was someone saying that if you used like the principles of art or something that it is art? Did someone say that?
I think
Mm.
Emma was saying something like that, right? Or-
Oh. But like it takes skill to like draw like every single like nerve ending like in an in
Like,
like
just because something takes skill does not make it art. Like,
okay.
like you could technically consider that it takes a lot of like muscle power to write the letter A on a sheet of paper, but is it art if you're just doing it to
But that's different from like a whole like the whole like human blood vessel system in the body.
right, but okay, let's pretend like for some reason you were like mostly paralyzed, and it takes a lot of effort for you to write a single letter. Just because you are finally able to write that letter doesn't mean that you have created art. It just means you've done something super hard.
You are impressive. You
And
have
it's
a
definitely
skill,
an achievement, but it's not
it's
a
not
piece
art.
of art.
Not every achievement is art, I think. Yeah.
So then,
But
if,
when someone, oh, go ahead.
no, you good.
No, you.
No, you.
Oh my God.
When someone draws in like when someone writes in like calligraphy, people are like, oh, that's art.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because it's a different font doesn't mean that it's like art.
Yeah, because it's not art. We're
Wait, no,
agreeing here.
Calligraphy is art because you are trying to give something like aesthetic pleasure.
But what you just said is with a person writing a letter
Uh-huh.
and it being like really difficult and they're skilled with it doesn't mean that it's art.
I'm not saying it's like difficult because of the particular. It's difficult because they can't like move their hand.
Yeah.
You know?
And it would take like a lot of effort for them. Whereas like calligraphy, like when
be
you
easy,
said
yeah.
calligraphy and she said font, I was just saying like
Yeah.
if you come up with like a beautiful font or whatever, that's not necessarily art. Whereas like when someone does calligraphy or like super fancy calligraphy, that level is like different because it serves like a highly aesthetic purpose there. Like, for example, like with the example I brought up earlier, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's art, but the level, like even in the calligraphy case, we're not saying that it's art because of the high level of skill.
Mhm.
We're saying it's art because of the intent behind it, which is also what we've been talking about before.
So what if a biology book is like all calligraphy and it's like super beautiful and like it's super like extra? Would that be art?
I think it would
Yeah.
be
Same
not for the biology components of it, but it itself as like a book, something
Yeah,
to look
yeah.
at.
So I'm thinking about like the Kurzgesagt videos, for example.
Yeah.
Those animations are beautiful and they serve a purpose besides just being
information.
informative.
Mhm.
So like the level of intent behind their animation definitely
Makes
gives
art.
it art, yeah. Or makes it art.
What if they only made the animation look good to make the videos more engaging?
I think that would still count as art. Maybe.
Like the engaging, like they're making it engaging by making it super aesthetically pleasing
Yeah.
and like going to the lengths to like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Right, so
here?
then why isn't like a diagram of a blood vessel art then?
Mm.
It's
I mean,
made, like visually to look engaging, so you learn stuff.
Yeah, like what if the intent is to show how like complex it is and like the realism and stuff?
Mhm.
I mean, in that case, yes.
Could it be like art and not art at the same time? Something
I
could have
think
a
it would qualify as art if it.
something could have like an artistic element to it, but also have a non-artistic element to it. Like showing you where the blood vessels are, that could be the non-artistic component, but like illustrating the blood vessels like in vivid detail or something, that could be artistic.
What about like propaganda?
Oh, like persuasive.
Like
yeah.
if the intent is to like persuade or like manipulate and stuff, would that be art or would that just be like manipulation?
No, I think that qualifies as art.
Mm,
I think it would be art because it's still like I don't know if it's visually appealing and it serves a purpose, even if the purpose is like bad.
it doesn't even have to be visually appealing. It's just
Yeah.
intentionally evoking an emotion in you, anger at some racial group or some other political party or something. That anger is the intent. It is art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we shouldn't like equate art to being good.
Yeah.
So like just because you think something is maybe like not a good thing doesn't mean we can't consider it art.
So even with all these like bad artists that we were talking about, that does not make what they produced any less art than it is. It's just like maybe we should not consume that type of art.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like
We're
we
still,
should not consume propaganda.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
still considering it art. It just we're art doesn't necessarily mean it's good, like I said, so controlling our consumption of it, or at least taking a deeper look at what we consume is important.
But if you're like with the propaganda, if you're like studying it or whatever.
Yo, we can tell when you're on your phones.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fine. What time is it?
It's 8. Yeah, what were you
Okay,
saying,
yeah.
Angie?
Yeah, go ahead.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
If you're like studying propaganda.
Oh yeah, if you're studying it, you're still consuming it.
Yeah.
If I'm like bump into some lyrics just so that I can understand what they mean, I'm still consuming it. You're still supporting them.
Yeah.
Hi, Jesse.
Hey, Jesse.
We're like wrapping up right now, but thanks for joining anyway.
Yeah.
You can see the recording on the website later if you want.
Okay. You do not have to. I knew that this would be. I'm sorry. Hello to everyone here. I just finished like a huge Orgo assignment for the week, so
Hey, good job.
yeah. Thank you. Okay, but how was the meeting?
It's going pretty well. We were talking about artistic intent and kind of like what makes something art. We have kind of reached the conclusion that it has to be something created intentionally to evoke an emotion.
I disagree.
But like we
Yeah.
still have lots of disagreement
Yeah.
among us. I feel like you should express your disagreement more.
What I did.
So should we just do last minute announcements now?
Yeah, okay. So
Wait,
this is just
I
like
think elephants are making art.
Oh, okay. So you think animals, I think that's sentient can like make art?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like interrupt y'all. Never mind.
no, you don't really have to apologize.
How could you say that elephant painting is not art?
He's cute, but his art is not art. His painting is not art, I mean.
But like given that an elephant has the intelligence of like a 4-year-old.
4-year-olds can't make art.
Really?
You
So
think little kids can't make art?
Have you never watched Parasite?
Every time I talk about philosophy, I come off as like a crazy person.
Well, they can make art. It's just not good.
But it's still art nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they wanted to
yeah.
evoke pride from their parents, probably, which Lucia does not provide.
Okay, fine. Maybe 4-year-olds are fine, but like if you just like force a paintbrush into like a child's hand and they just happen to do something.
Yeah,
it-
you know when people like paint their hamster's feet or whatever, and then they like let it walk? Like that's not
Yeah.
art. The hamster did not choose that.
Yeah, I meant like I thought you meant like kids that like choose to like.
No. Like once you get older and like you're actually
Yeah.
trying to do something, then that's definitely
4-year-olds,
like
honestly, 2 and up, they move their hands around. They make things that come from their mind.
right, but just because it comes from a mind doesn't mean that there is an intent.
You don't know what's in their mind though.
Okay.
I think some 4-year-olds might have intent in their art.
like
Because like they draw things that they see. Like they'll
right.
draw their parents and stuff. I don't know if that counts as intent.
Yeah, I
I
guess
don't
it depends on like how rigorous
What
your
it is.
definition of intent is, but like I don't know.
I don't know, because it's like it's a bit like it's a spectrum of like people's intent and then the consumer's interpretation.
Mhm.
Like there could be something that's like so like its intent is like practically not there. Like if someone just wanted to like scribble on a piece of paper, you know, if they're like in class or whatever and they're just doodling, it's still art.
I
No.
don't think so because you're doing it for the sake of putting marks on the paper rather than like something deeper than that.
So it has to be deep.
Not deep,
But
but like
no, it's just not, it doesn't have to be deep, but it has to be deeper than I want to put a line on this paper. You know what I mean?
Well, like scribbling in class is, like to distract yourself and stuff. Like maybe like doodling could be art, but it's like
It's you using
yeah.
marks on the paper to achieve some purpose unrelated to the art. So I don't think that qualifies. Okay, we're gonna go overtime. So next meeting is our abortion meeting, and I know a lot of you are really excited for it, so please come. Just so you guys know, when we say philosophy of abortion, we mean philosophy. Like, get your politics out of here.
and yeah, we're not talking about laws, we're not talking about what should the government be able to do. No, we're just talking like
the
the
philosophy. Yeah,
like,
the ethics. And
Yeah.
then we're gonna touch on like what the ethics mean for government later, but that's not like the focus of the discussion. And I'm gonna repeat all this next meeting for sure, but just so you guys know, get your law speaking out of here. And then the next meeting is the human in nature one. So like whether we're innately good or bad, or whether
we're in
I guess good and bad are not good words, but like,
Yeah.
or like what is our nature? And then the last meeting for the month is our Netflix party. So I'm gonna put the link to the Google Forms in the chat. I want everyone to submit something. Is it?
All right, 1 second here. Or no.
Yeah, I put it in here so I can find it. And I will send it.
All right. So for the Netflix party, ideally like recommend something that has a bit of depth to it, something that we can like discuss later on.
Oh, and not too raunchy, I think.
Not too
Because
long
I recommend
and not too long either, because we want to be able to like finish it within the usual time of the meeting, unless everyone's okay with like staying a bit over time.
Yeah, once we like narrow it down, we can give you guys some options, but also we kind of hope to after we watch whatever it's going to be, we want to like have like at least a little bit of a discussion after, just so you guys know. And then
Wait, which meeting was the meeting that you guys mentioned that everyone should be there or something?
next week,
Which one was it?
the abortion.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like pretty
Oh, it's because of the, okay.
Yeah, it's like a lot of really cool concepts in philosophy that I want everybody to
share,
know
yeah.
about. Yeah.
All right. I got you.
All right, did everyone see the link in the chat for the Netflix party?
All right, sweet.
Oh,
Was there anything else?
I think that's pretty much it. Are you looking for something?
I even put the slides.
Good.
Here they are. Yeah, that was it.
All right. Do you guys have any questions or comments? I'll take that as a no. Thank you all so much for showing up today. It was a very interesting discussion. It was like a lot more engaging than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, last week's was a little bit rough,
Yeah, definitely.
but
This is way better.
this one was better.
All right. I hope all of you guys come to the next meeting. It's gonna be so fun.
I know more people are gonna be there because I know Trisha's gonna be there for
Yeah, my
for next.
friends are coming next week.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
Sweet.
Thank you all.
All right.